Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Edna and Harvey, Harvey's New Eyes. Let's continue. So we're trying to speed run through the game um, as quickly as possible to get back to the ending to see the other two endings. Um,
Hello, Lip. You're not. You know.
we are somewhat close
Something
towards
weird.
the end. We're somewhat close to the ending of the first chapter, and I'm hoping we can just rush through the second chapter. Um,
Well done. I've heard it. Mother Soprano. Now hurry. There's a hit right next.
Yes.
Oh, of course. I completely. One moment. There isn't it unless it's risk.
So we have to, I think, talk to this guy to learn to
Just you once you're and this.
brainwash ourselves to break the other brainwashing. Which, if Garrett is supposed to be fake, then that was Lilli thinking of that herself. Which, if anything, that just kind of does highlight that Lilli is actually really smart and capable. Alright, let's grab this. And then let's walk this way.
Lilli would have loved, but she didn't.
Oh, so apparently we probably do have to do this just like 3 times. No, actually, it's not we do that 3 times. We use this on the carton for even more dust. It's a new day for me, certainly, so maybe I won't be too as exhausted trying to play the game twice in a row, but like certainly there's a lot of extra stuff that we're gonna have to do here, and we can only move so fast. And the real question, I guess, would be, can we just activate the solutions without talking to them sometimes?
Lilli wasn't. She was. Lilli was a parent.
So now that we have the flaming hat. So this first time that you defeat the demon, it's not even because
Lilli
you
had put just hopefully.
it's not really because you did something to save the demon and then contradicted his own rules as much as you touched the fire hat to save him, and then used the fire to kill him. And so that was slightly awkwardly written. And yeah, I definitely feel like had this game developer put more effort into it, a second pass would have rewritten that or how that played.
What? But there was. It was true. A secret. Garrett.
Lilli, you did it. I think. Well.
Let's see. Well,
You.
But Doctor
But this, it was.
skip through all of this.
If this, if you put it,
Skip
Mother
all of
Superior.
this.
and because the salute, we have to.
It's going to be quite a while, regardless of how as far as we try to, till we
Let's
get to
go to the
chapter
tree
2
swing.
and get to the point where we can move the story forward. Alright. We want to follow Edna, but we can't follow Edna,
It's weak or come. No matter how.
Lilli.
which means we have to grab the ball of wool
But Lilli.
and then get the inventory to actually pop up, and then we use this on Harvey.
But that's.
But it is kind of weird that this is the only place, or one of only a couple places, where Harvey stays instead of
Rabbits
disappearing
help enough to get
after
over this.
telling you you can't do something. And it's such a simple puzzle here. This
Lilli
one
was
in
curious
particular,
whether this would
which really makes it feel like there should have been more of a puzzle around this. You could have easily had the
when
bone
Lilli suddenly she emerged.
or the tar pit on a secondary scene.
Lilli had she might
Let's see. And it doesn't quite logically make sense. It makes sense for the game, but it doesn't make sense really for Lilli herself that she only has the willpower to break one restriction at a time.
You're late. Where have...
Alright, so we made it to the second chapter, but there is definitely a lot of stuff that's gonna go.
If that's so, it's okay.
Though it's gonna take a while to get to this point.
Lilli was, however, but Garrett, Lilli, she could see more.
You're. Don't you there be or.
She
You must not hang around dangerous.
I wear and.
You get into this whole side quest of the map rolling, and the explanation around why the map rolls is kind of weird because it's non-existent.
Lilli arrived just in time to see the fly to move.
And at a certain point, maybe that's supposed to just move towards the idea of like maybe that's supposed to move towards the idea that Lilli just can't get mad or has no ability to get mad. Let's just, yeah, there's the yellow pin. I almost missed that. It just does mean, since we know all the solutions to this, we can fairly quickly do this the right way and have everything ready for us before we even really enter an area.
What? Oh. What do you have there?
I imagine that it is a case that
So.
they're
Yeah. Who wants to be Max Mix?
Alright. Now, can I talk to her and get Max
Thanks again for
Mixo's
the finally.
recipe?
Wait, I have. Who wants to be Max Mix?
So yeah, we are gonna have to come back here. We can't get the Max Mixo recipe without having the cocktail menu first. Yeah, I imagine the second chapter will be able to rush through a lot quicker than the first chapter. The second chapter, just because there's not going to be as much dialogue. I recognize I'm also stuttering and going a lot today as I'm trying to just remember the solution. This really is just awful, though, that we are that it takes this much effort just to get to the ending again, when really the obvious solution would have been to just have a hard save at the ending. The game forced you to save. Well, that put me in the wrong place. And I don't even think there's...
The path to Chioda and do you have a lich?
I think that ever
And
since
that,
we should be taking.
I assume that these two are actually looking for Lilli. And if they are real at all. Contradict adults. Feed
The
this.
sign said that Lilli would in the saber-tooth board.
Go to the signpost. So often you have this case where you hear a sound effect when something is happening off screen because they just don't want to animate things, which is kind of silly because there are animations here. And honestly, I'd probably be a little bit more generous around this if I felt like fewer people actually worked on this game, but you have Renee and Pokey as the two main names, but then we looked at the credits, there's a decent size of people here. You have voice acting, and honestly I think voice acting is almost a requirement for any point and click adventure game. You have to have it. I generally would like
Is that what? Wait.
Marania was busy. Too bad.
I generally would like voice acting in almost every game.
Wait.
Even super
Who
long
wants to be first? Next mix-up?
games with a lot of dialogue like
Gotta guess
visual
that.
novels.
What? Wait. Could you possibly do me another favor? It's about Max Mixo, the previous bartender at the village bar. He's worried about his legacy, the volcano berserker. He'd always hoped that this drink
It almost
would
feels
be
like this line of dialogue is
both
playing
wanted
out
his plan failed, but
slightly
now he
differently.
literally took the recipe to his grave.
Maybe one
It's
sentence
very
is different.
simple. The cocktail only has 3 ingredients: wine gum, artemisia, and a chili pepper. Did you get that? Thank you, Lilli. Maybe the great Max Mixo can finally find peace. And me too.
But yeah, if this game had voice acting and then slightly fewer people, I'd be a little bit more generous. Even kind of knowing that this is one of their early games, I still don't really want to be that generous because there is this level where I don't really feel like I've seen a Deponia game that really evolved. I'm not Deponia game, Daedalic game. I don't feel like any of them really evolved quite as well as they should have, because I feel like they spent a little bit too much time just making more and more content instead of possibly improving the engine or...
But what's that? That's not fluff and milk. They're cute.
Alright, so this is the other time that he stays here.
Ooh, can I see it again?
Yeah, much like the Telltale games, the first Walking Dead Telltale game is pretty good, and it is actually a major improvement from the Telltale games that were more point-and-click adventures before that point. But that's about as much as I can say. After the first season of Telltale's Walking Dead, there is a... I have to do this 15 times for an achievement. After that first season of The Walking Dead, they just kept on making more and more Telltale games and overcommitting, and they never improved the concept or did anything different or new with it, and instead just tried to churn out more and more content. And in Telltale's case, that led to Telltale failing miserably in the Daedalic's case, it led to them to eventually just not even caring so much about the point-and-click adventure games and started having them publish other things. If we go back to the menu here, since I loaded the game again, we once again have 2 other Daedalic published games, neither of which are point-and-click adventure games. They just have no interest in that. On top of that, I also really do have a problem with advertisements and games you paid for. Like, I get the idea. It's not like I don't understand that there is a concept here where Daedalic players might want to play other Daedalic games, but when you weigh the harm it does to the artistic creation of this main menu, which is mostly functional, but it's still somewhat artistic, it doesn't outweigh those harms for the good of it. There are inherently people that are going to be irate if you try to advertise to them in a product you paid for. There are people that have, I think, a justifiable argument that they don't want to be advertised to at all. There is no scenario in the world, or at least in capitalistic societies, where you can say, I am a shopaholic, I am broke, I just don't want to be advertised to, it upsets me horribly, it triggers me, things like that. And there's a percentage of people out there that are like that, and more people probably should be like that. Kids shouldn't be advertised to, certainly. When you think of this exact same scenario, and this is very much a very minimal advertisement, but say you bought this game for a kid for their birthday. They have no money to their name, they're not given money at any point, and yet they're getting advertised to. You're creating this wanting, this longing for something that they don't have. You're making them feel like they are unsatisfied. That's what advertising is. You're being emotionally and mentally manipulated to buy something more. It's different if you go to Steam and you look at a Daedalic game, and then Steam has links to other Daedalic games. That's good advertisement, because I've come through the door, I've gone into a store digitally, as it were, in the case of Steam. I've chosen to go into a place where I knew advertising was going to take place and sales and commerce was going to take place. It's not even a case like a Walmart Supercenter where there are toys in the Walmart Supercenter, but there are also groceries. So there often is a case where kids will walk or wander to the toy aisle in a grocery store, and then want a toy when that's not the reason you came to the store in the first place. You came for groceries. And if anything, Walmart Supercenters tend to keep the toy aisle, just for that reason, somewhat far away from the grocery side of Supercenters. But that conflict often does happen. Okay, so I guess the Quack Doctor, I don't think gives me anything. I don't think he opens this.
But it's not. Step right and natural. For all step and take it. Take. Hello. And do you have tinnitus? I'm sorry, but I can't come back.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember, what do I do to the mayonnaise to get sick?
Lilli, why was there...
It's probably not the best point to try to get the coffee achievement. But it would be the safest point.
No, not. Do you have tinnitus? Why? What do we? You've come. This to be on your rash. You mind?
So the first part of this was to do this much. Then we'll have to come back. I don't know if it really benefits us any to break the don't drink alcohol rule quite yet. But we might as well get it done. See, that's definitely a different example where you've tricked the demon into breaking its own rule, and that's led to its direct downfall. Versus just burning somebody after it. So yeah, once they had written that line, the genie had broken his own rule, then that should have been the point where they went back and thought about the two previous puzzles and said, these need rethinks, these need rewrites, so it's thematically consistent. Yeah. But to do the coffee achievement now would require me to try to drink alcohol over and over again. And I guess I don't have alcohol on me. I needed to drink it anyways. First. I would have had to have drink. I must. Well, let's see. Let's try this. We're gonna have to drink alcohol anyway, so we'll let ourselves drink alcohol, and that shouldn't take us into a hypnotic state. That should just take us.
What's the matter? Is something? It tastes that.
Alright. So he starts smashing. There's no way you would have ever seen that smashing happen or coming. What you logically would have wanted to do is have a spot on the bar that was already smashed, and then be able to ask about it, and then him to say he pounds the bar when he is drunk, or when he drinks something spicy.
The bartender, Lilli kept. The bartender, Lilli.
And so we can't put the coins on the eyes until we can talk to her. And we can't talk to her until we can. We can't talk to her until we can lie. So we can't break the lying until until we're in here, which is this point.
What? You're in. Come on.
So there is a considerable amount of dialogue we are skipping to try and make this faster.
Let this be a drinking at your.
Although this does
And
also
finally,
just kind of highlight a
Lilli
problem that it's been about like 2 hours to get past
So
the
that-
first chapter,
maybe
and
Lilli.
I may get through
But maybe-
all of chapter 2 very quickly.
What's the matter? You should. Oh, come. That's it. You can't. It took. I'll let you. But you have. Can you?
You must
And so this was the third time you bring Harvey,
The ball
and he
of wood.
stays
Can I see it
around.
again?
But even these transitions still are pretty slow. Alright, let's go ahead and make a save game for safety, but I don't think we actually need it, because at this level we had already in the first playthrough achieved the achievement around doing Lady Justice and Checkmate and Pathfinder and Who, so we can now just skip all of these to get the achievement of loving minigames. So we still have to keep an eye on Coffee Junkie, which you don't have to do in Chapter 2, and I don't think I want to do it in Chapter 2. And then the rest of these achievements, we still need to work on. The electric shock one in particular, I need to find a point in the third chapter where I can do that, because I'll already have gotten several electric shocks, but maybe those don't count. Maybe I need 15 extra electric shocks on top of the ones that you have to go through to trigger. Every one of these other achievements I understand and know, so good. So this is going to make this fairly easy.
Well, contract sometimes. Yeah. But
The idea of this character having split personalities does not really make any sense at all.
it can easily be.
God is good, but the devil.
God,
But the devil. That's what you can. It only takes.
you can try it.
I think the idea, if you were going to implement this idea, would have been that you would have wanted to have Harvey show up as a counterbalance to all of the previous demons. And maybe that would have been a little bit too early to do that. But yeah, it would have made more sense instead of Harvey showing up for Edna to show up in these delusions and her to be a hint of a counterbalance towards the demons. You almost would get down to what happens in the first Myst game with the red pages and the blue pages, because there's a character then that tells you collect only the red pages and don't collect the blue pages, and vice versa. So you have to decide who you trust in the first Myst game. So you could have had that balance, and that would have been an interesting twist on what is an otherwise very straightforward game here. If Edna was showing up and she was telling you to do one thing, and Harvey was showing up and telling you to do something different, or even if Edna was showing up and telling you to do something chaotic, and Garrett was showing up and telling you something to do that is more structured and order and logical, and then Harvey is just telling you not to do anything at all. So what I definitely struggled with this one when we first played it, and I think there's multiple answers, but it'll take a moment to see what the skip answer is.
All right.
Lie, wisdom.
Lies are what?
Lies equal truth.
Lies are good?
Lies equal good.
But that can't be true. Everything seems to fit. But that's...
Yeah, and unless I just totally screwed up the game, which would require me to then play the game 3 times.
Apparently, Justicia was wrong. It seemed that lies weren't so bad after all. Lilli had removed another block.
And the fact that she just stabs herself with the sword is kind of a silly way to go. There's definitely a different way you would have done that, where you would have had Justicia balanced on like a scale, maybe with Lilli standing on the other side of the scale, and then that would have the balance tip in your favor and cause her to die.
And you're not. Okay, welcome.
Yeah, it would definitely make some sense.
Let this be as long as it's much.
For solving the puzzle to directly kill Justicia.
But where you heard you must there is at a spore.
Alright. This limitation where you couldn't go outside seems oddly
Wasn't sure. There were
like it seems like it's oddly extra to have that limitation.
incredible. The coffee was so.
But see, once again,
Where you heard you must there is at a spore.
so we don't have a. I guess we do have contradicting adults as an option,
You must not.
but we don't have a dangerous places thing, so that does lock you in here. Anyway, so you can definitely see how that as a system does not, it doesn't really make it for an easy experience to drink coffee 15 times. And it's just ridiculous that it is drinking coffee 15 times. Alright. I need to come back out. It's crazy that you can't also adjust your rules here. I need to come back out so I can have lying enabled because I changed it. And then we'll go back this way. And then we'll have to once again brainwash ourselves.
Where you heard you must there is at a spore.
And yeah, you see this example of them walking back to a point. Wouldn't it just make more sense for Harvey bunnies to just exist on the screen and you just see them on every screen because you've been brainwashed? Yeah, I feel like that would save you a walking animation, and it would save the player watching a walking animation. Is he even doing this?
What are you doing? Don't tell.
This may be premature because I need
Oh,
to get
I
money.
hope you remember to. That's just, it's hard to, and you place them.
So yeah, we needed that line of dialogue first. Before we could get the coins to play with the dogs at the playing poker. So far we've done it 3 times, which honestly I think I probably drank coffee in the first playthrough about 5 times.
Lilli put the money since he was sleeping.
Which that really just highlights that almost no players would have accidentally gotten any of these achievements. And
Where are you going?
some achievements should be accidentally achieved. Let's see. Now let's talk to the bartender.
Well, look what some it's going. When I
Take the money.
it's more go ahead.
Then we use the money on the poker table.
I'll get
And then we skip a cutscene of her not being able to gamble.
Oh, get back. Don't forget to athlete.
Almost certainly there would have been a case where there would have been a mental block that says do not smoke or do not gamble. And yet those 2 aspects are completely left out as far as mental blocks are concerned. So she's totally allowed to smoke.
Lilli interpreted the strange smoke signals to mean as night.
Again, we don't have to do this puzzle, so we can just hit skip and it'll just fast travel it over.
The shaman and Lilli were final.
Which definitely makes this middle section way shorter. Let's grab some junk food. And I think we have to talk to the shaman about something, but I don't even remember what. I've kind of lost the...
Did you rough those my root now? It's
Yeah.
Auto. Did you rough those on my router just now? You it's Apache.
And this Apache joke is kind of the only actual like joke that we see. I feel like we had deodorant at some point. I just don't...
Lilli secretly put the... It was...
Howdy. What's a night? Wait. Well then, the only go and I'm plus you.
And we'll just go ahead and
You're a and even the entrance.
skip through all of this.
Perhaps.
Yeah. We need deodorant and we need sunscreen, hair removing tonic.
No, I need some, but if any. My gold horn.
Okay. So now he has ridden over. Yeah, I feel like we get the deodorant from this guy.
Step up. Oh, sorry. Even if all I have. Oh.
And so we need a prescription. And to get the prescription, I feel like we needed to talk to this guy.
Mom. R-E. Auto, did you mean? Wait. Got it. The Wendigo. Demon. Wendigo. F1. Lol.
So we needed to
Auto, did you mean?
hear about the
How will you
Wendigo
just get
before we could actually
print
talk to
order?
him about it.
Print. Here. Give this recipe. I hacked, and while I clicked, but thanks.
Yeah. Much like the Shibuya girls, the shaman here as a character is too much of a character and doesn't really play a good role. You also run into the same problem with like the Doris, the cafeteria lady. It's just like they seem to really enjoy writing interesting characters in this game, but not really using them.
Would you mind taking it to him?
So yeah, I would definitely say they should have.
There was a cannon that Lilli was.
They really should have had a case where there was way more Edna and less of other characters. If Edna just showed up as interactable characters instead of these potato characters, that probably would have made a lot of sense too. If there was a lot of Harveys, that would have also made some sense. I think we're good to go.
The vultures, that was...
Alright. And then... yeah, unless I wanted to drink coffee here, we're good. So we'll just do this.
It was so hot, but even Lilli...
We open a hole in the ozone with a tiny little spray.
Oh, it could be that's not. Where's my...
And see, the rickety bridge in the background, for instance, doesn't play a role. So wouldn't it have made more sense that
I better leave it outside.
maybe Justisa
Is safe.
was on a bridge, and then after you solved the puzzle, the Justisa would walk over the bridge, and then the bridge would collapse and kill them. Like, you could have, without even really changing the art, put Justisa's board here, and then have her stand at the beginning of the bridge, and then you solve the puzzle, and they go, okay, I was told this bridge wasn't safe, but I don't believe that. That may have been a lie. So I'm going to go walk across this bridge and prove that it is safe. They walk across the bridge, and then it turns out it isn't safe. And then the Wendigo, as a character, maybe doesn't have to exist at all because it is just a secondary... This is just a secondary puzzle. But you could have also had the Wendigo in a different section for a different reason.
What a drag.
The sun had badly damaged the Wendigo. Apparently, nowhere was safe. That meant it was inevitable to spend time in dangerous places.
What could have happened is that Justisa could have walked over the bridge could have broken. We could have seen the bridge a lot earlier as our final goal. Then we would have had to have left, and then the Wendigo could have come back and said, I repaired the bridge, but it's still too dangerous for you to go, or I've only partially repaired the bridge. Or the bridge loses just a couple of boards, and then the Wendigo shows up and stops you from trying to cross the bridge because a couple of boards are missing, or a single board is missing. Yeah. And see, that's a case of the bunny walking away, so it's very inconsistent. And the last thing we want to have happen is for there to be a mistake. I should be able to skip this mini game, and then that I think will be the last mini game. So there just aren't any in the third chapter, which again gives you this weird feeling that the third chapter may have been added on after the fact. Which that definitely would suck if somebody had gotten this game originally and it only had one chapter or two chapters in it.
At long, she had, and there was Edna. Edna,
don't I was out if I did swear well.
Skip all this dialogue.
Lilli, but what if Lilli, she would find.
Look through all of this. And take the owl pipe, which is an odd translation. And see, that's just that. So we're potentially going to be done with this in like less than an hour.
There's damn new refund should have this whatever it's a
So the attempt. Why would Lilli
Use this to get his.
Lilli would.
Alright. So how do we skip the owl thing? Okay, the skip the owl thing is just over here on the left instead of the right, which is really inconsistent, and all you really should have done is just had a branch over here on this side where the owl landed. That would have made this area a little bit empty, sure, but not too much you can do about that. You could have thought of that at the beginning and redrawn the road, or redrawn where the car is parked, or redrawn where Garrett was hiding, if Garrett was, say, hiding all over here the whole time. And then this one was behind you.
Lilli was able to finally give Garrett the signal without being interrupted.
So that should have been the achievement. And yet, I don't know what happened here that didn't trigger it. Yeah, so theoretically this whole effort may have been in vain now, because the whole loathing of minigames seems to be something I didn't skip, unless maybe there is some other minigame that we already have achieved, which there might be a case to that. Ooh, was I capable of skipping the Sisyphean labor, and then I did it? Because, like, canonically, I should have skipped this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one. Well, whatever. I'll not worry about it.
Lilli was able. Garrett, didn't she try to?
Did you hear that too? Someone's just wait. Well, who do we have here? But that's. Uh-oh.
And the whole phantom element here is crazy. Like that whole phantom aspect really should not
Lilli
have played a role.
fleeing attendance for a long while. She was used to having bizarre phantoms appear behind her without warning, but the way Dr. Marcel's minions had reacted surprised her. Usually, adults just ignored these creatures.
Oh, okay. We have to skip the board game with the Mother Superior, so that we still are in contention for skipping all the mini games. So all is not lost. All wouldn't have been lost anyways because we still have this. Oh, it actually says I only need to drink coffee about 10 times. Sorry, I'm reading the walkthrough just to make sure I didn't miss any. All the videos or pictures have decided to not load all of a sudden. Alright. Yeah, I don't think we need anything more.
Lilli, I thought when I sneezed, it's power and before that you and other, but just.
And the way he's just walking around in circles like that
Lilli would have, but
is kind of pointless for him to spin around, and you put effort into doing that animation probably because you already had it, but because you already would have had to animate him walking from left to right, right to left, forward and backward, maybe not even forward and backward.
The institution, it was all this, and Lilli.
And key in back door.
Exhaust, but just.
I'm very shocked that there isn't a puzzle around this.
The door.
Like it definitely feels like there would have been some kind of puzzle where you had to use the owl whistle to move the squirrel further.
Of course, this was also because she hardly had any friends. Much it had followed. The key had. It was but yeah. Why did the.
And so, yeah, in one episode, we not only started before the beginning of Chapter 2, we've made it into Chapter 3. Alright. So, the next achievement to get in Chapter 3 is using the boat back and forth. Far right of the right screen to the left, you have to do this back and forth 5 times. Double clicking doesn't work. I would have sworn I would have done this anyways, as much as I went back and forth in the first playthrough. This is where the game got really, really bad, and with a just horribly thought out puzzle. Not really a puzzle at all, it's just kind of an action event. And it's no wonder that pretty much nobody would have naturally gotten this achievement. This is incredibly slow. Let me see if I can read whether that it counts as 1. All the way back and forth 5 times. So that might have been 1, or that might have been 1/2. I don't even know how you really fix this puzzle, because you're just having the bitterness of not really having a puzzle at all, then being given yet another thing that's not a puzzle, I think one thing you would do as just a first goal is you would have the Phantom in the boat and the girl not in the boat. And then if you wanted this to just be a fairly quick experience, you would have the keys to open the door at the end of the far end of the left screen, and then you would have something where at this point where you are, he would stop you from getting the keys that were over here, like some kind of trap or some kind of bridge that was connected to a device that would lower or rise whether there's a boat here. And so then the goal would probably be to race him at that point so that, well, now I'm not going anywhere. Race him so he's not triggering a gate or locking the gate. And the idea of the Phantom potentially being slammed because of the water currents all the way back and then hearing a thud would make a lot more sense. And then you could fix the previous puzzle by just not having a puzzle at all. Just don't have a key. Instead, just have a trapdoor that opens up the second you try to open the you try to open the asylum gate, and that way you fall downward if it's necessary to fall downward. Or you just have the door locked and then you say perhaps I should look for a key, and then you have the scene with like fake rocks all over the place, and you could tease the player a little bit where they are clicking on a whole bunch of fake rocks, and on each fake rock they click it gets eliminated, and then eventually Lilli just gets angry, which you could get back to that theme of Lilli never really letting her anger out, where she throws a fake rock and then you hears a splash, and then there could just be a well that she climbs down or jumps down. You could have used the exact same art from the well at the beginning of the game, and then thematically that would touch upon these same elements multiple times. And it would be a nice little callback to Trevor. Maybe that would scare some players away, seeing a well, and they would never consider maybe losing the game or killing Lilli. But it didn't have to be a well. It could definitely be a sewer grate with a ladder on it. It's unnecessary, really, to even make it so that you can't go backwards, because after this scene you can't go backwards anyways. This is just yet another great example, though, of wasting the player's time. It's just nobody that's gonna do this. Even 5 times is too much. Doing it once would have been more than enough to give a free achievement, since achievements really have no value anyways. See, so I've either done that 3 times or 5 times. Yep, and apparently I did it 5 times. Okay, well, like at the moment, we don't have anything that will shock us. But we need to shock ourselves as far as achievements. Several more times. We need to drink coffee several more times. We need to skip the last minigame. This pizza time is actually the most difficult one. The next one we will get is quick time event, where we're supposed to press X multiple times and then talk to Druggle Jug, who is, I think, a kind of a reoccurring comedic character. And then, yeah, the rest of these will be very easy. And there is a decent chance that the next recording will be our last recording, because if it only took me an hour to speedrun through Chapter 2, it may only take me an hour to speedrun through Chapter 3. Or at least get very close towards that. But it has been an hour, so that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.